Welcome to another Teaching Tuesday. Wild blessings are indeed abounding, and today is going to be on being wild and prepared. So I'm glad you joined me. Thank you so much for taking time to invest in yourself and in your family by learning about all of God's wild blessings that He has placed free for us to gather. My name is Holly Drake, and I'm on YouTube and on a private Facebook group. So if you want to be a part of a community, it's Wild Blessings with Holly Drake, private Facebook group. So you'd have to friend me and ask to join, and I'd be happy to accept you. So I want to introduce you to some of my friends that are here today and a guest speaker. So guys, come on over. Briefly, just the overview of where we're heading today is we're going to be talking about wild preparedness and some Jody. Well, let me introduce Jody. Come on in, guys. Okay. All right. This is Jody and this is Bonnie. And Jody's going to be sharing with us on some of her best tips on being wild, being prepared, just not wild. But
I am wild.
Yeah, she's wild. We're definitely kindred spirits.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about what she has to share. And also, I'll be sharing with you some of my wild tips on how you can be prepared with just God's free provisions, and sharing with you the things that are on this counter and how you can do the same things. So first of all, I always start every class by herbing around, and you might say, what are you doing, Holly? And so this is goldenrod, and I have a bunch of it dried. This is just a tiny bit of what I have dried, but goldenrod is such an amazing plant. If you want to learn about it, I did a whole hour class on it. It is 7 times higher in antioxidants than green tea. It is an absolute super tea. So it's a good thing to have a stock of. And so my friends are going to be herbing around over at the table, de-stemming the goldenrod. And what I want you to do, girls, if you can hand me the goldenrod right behind you, that whole thing. Yeah, that's fine. The can too. All right. So the best way to do it, I have found, is to the things that you have dried is to dry it onto a cutting board that is flexible. And then once you have, pretend I did it on the cutting board. So this is what you're going to do. Okay. And so Jody labeled it for me, the jar, and then you put that dried material, just make it a funnel. And that is just such an easy way to do it. So you've got the goldenrod, and you also have the lamb's quarter seeds. So you can be doing that. And then Bonnie,
yes,
you were just doing some herbing around over there. What were you doing?
I was working on acorns and opening them up and pulling the meat out of them, and then putting them into water. And what does the water do, Holly?
Well, they oxidize right away. So watch my acorn class 2 weeks ago if you want to learn about that. But we've been cooking with acorns a lot. So you're going to enjoy eating some acorn muffins for dessert today. The reason why she put it in water is because it keeps it from oxidizing. And then, of course, we leach it out. And watch my class on how to do the cold leaching, which is my favorite way. It takes longer, but the hot leaching works as well, and it's a lot faster. So you guys got that? Okay. And this one is already ready for the lamb's quarter seeds. And if you could take these over and just put it over there for now, because I want to do a sniff test. All right, so we're going to be talking about some ways in which you can preserve the wild harvest. And so one of the things I've been excited about doing this week is just drying things. And so I did this a while ago. This is a wild mushroom. So I'm going to give them a sniff test and see if they can tell what these different things are. So Jody, come over here with your nose and tell me what you think that is. What do you think that is, Bonnie?
It's sweet. It smells sweet.
Yeah. This is dried tomato powder. And so you dry them. My dehydrator has been busy. And so then I dried them and then put them in a coffee grinder and ground them up. But you can reconstitute that into tomato paste.
I got it.
So good. Can you smell it now? Okay, now this one, I'm sure you'll get. I know you'll get this. I wish you guys could sniff this.
It sounds almost like caraway.
It's a berry.
It's a berry.
Yep. Really high in antioxidants and super good for colds and flu. Even the pharmaceutical company is pushing this particular berry. It's purple. This is elderberry powder.
Elderberry, yeah.
Okay. Super yummy. Okay, this one I couldn't get to powder up, but it smelled. You'll know what this is. You were just working with them.
Well, it smells like nuts. Yeah.
No, this is
acorns.
autumn olive berry.
Oh,
Smell it.
my
Yep.
sniffer is not working that well.
This is autumn olive. And then I also I powdered up some yucca seeds from yucca so I can make that into flour, super high in nutrition. This one is actually toxic and you'd never want to eat this, but I did it for dye and ink. And this is pokeberries, which the Constitution of the United States was supposedly written with pokeberries. So if I were to
label that
put,
one very well.
I will. I know what it is. The pokeberry itself is not poisonous. It's just the seeds, and the seeds aren't in there. Okay, and then I have, of course, the powdered acorns for coffee, and I have the powdered dandelion for making into flour, and I have all kinds of things powdered. So this is blackberry powder. Can you smell that?
Yes.
Isn't that awesome?
Mhm.
And then I've been also
isn't that
preserving by
good?
doing a lot
Really
of jellies. And so we
Mhm.
have lots of different jellies over here. This is a crabapple jelly, and this is a wild grape jelly. This is pumpkin butter, spiced pumpkin butter, and that is beautyberry jelly. So that's exciting.
What is this one here?
This is chestnut butter. So the chestnut butter is absolutely amazing. And these are the chestnuts, and the chestnuts are here. So yeah, that's my little bit of my herbing around that I've been doing here, and I wanted to share with you guys. So
Thank you.
let's see, what else did we want to talk about while we were up here? Yeah, I guess that's it. So if you want to go back to your
Do you
chair,
want me to
take that.
have
Mhm.
it do
I
that?
need the lamb's quarters.
And you can take all of this stick with you. You want to have a drying stick that has these nails on it, and put them high and dry,
Isn't that pretty?
Oh, wow.
so they can dry completely. You do not want any moisture when you're trying to jar things up. All right.
Very nice.
Okay, so welcome to my new members, and I'm really, really honored that you would join me. I hope you love this class. I hope you learn along with me, and you learn best by doing. So it's one thing just to listen to Holly talk about stuff, and it's another thing to do it yourself. So make sure that you can join with me in some of the wild contests that I provide each week. And last week, the winner of our wild contest was Karen Campbell. So Karen, I can't wait to go foraging with you. The winners get to go foraging with Holly. So we'll have a wild time, Karen. I'm looking forward. Make sure you bring Chloe. Okay, so we're going to have a slideshow and in just a minute. And of all the things that I've been foraging for this week, of my foraging adventures with Tracy Terry and with Deanna and Valley, that was so much fun. And the things I've been cooking up and the things that will be talking about are represented on the slideshow. So we'll watch that. Then Jody's going to share her tips on just being wildly prepared, or just prepared. And then, whoops, there's my phone. And then I'm going to share some wild tips with you. Yikes. How do I turn it off? I took a picture of
Hand
it.
it to me.
I'll hand it to my husband.
Let's get rid of that noise.
Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about what's on Nature's Wave right now. Of course, nuts are still in season. And what's really exciting is that the dandelion is back. And it looked kind of grumpy in the summertime, but now it is absolutely glorious. And this is the time to gather dandelion leaves and chickweed leaves, because they're out in the cold weather. And also you want to get their roots this time of year to make medicine. Some other things I have on the counter that I made this week is a hawthorn elixir with the berries I got from Jenny's farm. And I just put half honey, local honey, and half brandy. And this will be really good medicine, especially for the heart. And then I'm making some vinegars out of the hawthorn just by adding sugar to the filtered water and then letting that sit. I have to put the cloth lids on. I just did it this morning. And what else am I got on here that I've been herbing around with? Yeah. All right. So Jody, come on up and tell us about what you made for our lunch today.
Oh, sure.
Isn't that beautiful? She designed this for us. I wish you could join us for lunch.
It's fun.
Yeah. So what did you put on here? It's all wild except for the carrots and the eggs.
Yeah,
And the cheese.
And the cheese.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't deal with any goats over this. But these are our dandelion greens. They were washed nicely and dried,
Mhm.
probably 2 or 3 times to get them nice and clean. I took the stems off of them. I personally think they're just a little too crunchy for a salad, and they can be used in soups or for any number of other
Or
things.
put it in your dog food.
And then we have the, what are they called?
Autumn olive berries.
They're autumn.
Elaeagnus umbellata.
I
Are
love
the stems. Are the stems possibly more bitter than the leaves?
They're just, they get stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right.
And then, of course, we have and these are
Chestnuts. Mhm.
right? And Holly had done her eggs. I can't
I'd
wait to
pickle
taste
them.
them.
Yeah.
Pickled eggs. They're so beautiful.
Which is another way to preserve them.
And of course, to eat this, I would imagine it'd be good to just sprinkle the cheese over it and
Mix it
mix
all
it
up.
up a little bit. Put whatever dressing you like.
So, what is the secret of eating a dandelion? Do you eat it like this? Do you eat the whole leaf? Or
I try not to waste any dandelion because it's
I know, but if
so
you were to
nutritious.
just, I know it is, but if you were to eat if I were to serve this to Jason like this, he would go, that is disgusting.
No, well,
So
no,
what did
cut
you-
it up.
He'd
Chop
say,
it up
"Where are the
small.
goats?"
That's the key, is cutting it up small.
Yeah, just
So
chop it
I
up.
probably would have even cut it a little bit more, but that's okay. It's going to be so nutritious. It's probably
And
better
if
than
you're just
anything
getting
else.
started,
Mhm.
I think it's you might want to just mix it into your other
That's
salad.
what I
It's
was thinking
part
too.
of your other
Yeah, but
greens.
we're hardcore.
Oh yeah, you'll
No,
go
just
for it
mix
after a
mix it
while.
up.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
that's
For
what
you,
makes
I
it
will.
easy.
Now, here's the thing. We need hydrochloric acid in our stomachs. And so if you have any digestive issues and you think, oh, I've got too much acid in my stomach, actually, you have not enough. And so eating dandelion leaves actually makes your body create more hydrochloric acid. So did you know that?
No,
So Susan Weed actually goes out and she gets a dandelion leaf, whatever time of year, and she always eats it before every single meal so that she doesn't have digestive issues. So I think that's pretty cool.
sort of like the Asians use ginger, too.
Yeah,
They
or
do that.
kimchi, which is something else we'll talk about.
Mhm.
Okay,
Thank you.
so that's great. All right,
Thanks
I
so
wanted
much.
to have our wild tea, which we do every week. We have a wild tea, so let me get it out. And what I have is crabapple juice sweetened with monk juice or monk. What is that called?
Monk fruit.
Monk fruit. There you go. Let me put this over here to get the cups out. And I haven't even sampled this, so I have no idea what it tastes like. So you guys will be brave and be my samplers.
Did you mix it with a little seltzer?
That would have been a good idea. I did not. You want to just try it straight?
If you want, I can get some seltzer if you want to try it. Can you get some right now?
Well, let's try it.
has
Well,
a
come
little-
here and try it. Jason, come over here first and try it just like this. No. Okay, so look how beautiful this color is. And what I absolutely love about crab apples is that they are so high in pectin. And so when I'm making fruit leathers or I'm making jams with berries that don't have the pectin, I always add a crab apple sauce that I had created just out of these free crab apples. Super simple to do, just like it was applesauce, but it's so much higher in pectin than even the apples. And let's see, Jason,
So-
I want you to try it first.
Okay, so
with
you can
this.
always do that. You can always add a little bit of seltzer. Oops, I'm going to turn it around here. So it just gives a little sparkle, a little extra
It's not even
flavor.
cold.
That's good. It's kind of tart. I think the seltzer would help it.
Okay, well, the seltzer doesn't have any sugar in it, right?
No, it does not.
All right. So that'll be yours.
Fine. Fine.
And girls, do you want to try this?
Yes.
It's half and half. Do
Can you
half.
can you serve them?
Sure, I can do it.
You're going to show us how to make that, right?
What do you mean?
Do
The
you
juice?
keep the crab apple peel on it while you're doing it?
I did a whole class on that. So well, I'll answer that in the comments if you like, or we'll just be here all day. All right, Jace, this is for you, honey.
Okay. Where's the seltzer?
Wow.
Where's
This
the
is
seltzer?
I put it back there. That is so good.
It's delicious.
That is so delicious. I love that.
Add a little extra seltzer.
Add a little extra seltzer and make sure it's cold.
Add a little extra.
Okay. All right. So, so many things to talk about today. I just want to make sure that that I don't miss any of it. It's just so important. This is such an important class. One of the things I wanted to talk about is how important it is to develop a shopping center. And I have maybe 50 shopping centers all around Todd. I know this area super well. And what I do is I'll go up to a house of a friend or somebody who is not a friend yet, but somebody that I notice that they have a butternut tree, or I notice that they have a black walnut tree, or autumn olive berries or something. And I will take them a brand new wild jelly that I made, and I will take them a card, one of my cards. And so if you guys want my card, I'll explain to you why it's a good idea for you to get my card. But I take my card and I'll go up to the door and I'll introduce myself, and I will say, I'm Holly Drake. I'm a wild edible plants educator. And I noticed that you had some autumn olive berry on your land, and I was wondering if you would let me forage for it. And I would say out of the hundreds of times I have done that, I've only been told no twice. So I know you're not Holly Drake, but you can say, I'm in a class where my teacher requires me to go up to a complete stranger and ask them if I can go forage for their chestnuts that I noticed you had. And then you can give them my card and invite them to come to class, which would be amazing. So that's something I think that would be helpful, because a lot of you don't have these things on your land. I've spent the last 9 years bringing all of these things to my land. So I do have most things here, but I still love to go shopping in God's grocery stores. So that's something you can do. And another thing I wanted to say before we actually get started is that I live in an area that is so nutrient dense and plant dense, more than anywhere else. And so you might just think, good grief, I don't see this abundance around where I live. Well, let me assure you, there is abundance. It might not be the same, but there is abundance. So what I would recommend is go to a website called findaforager.com, type in your location, and then that will give you all the options of people that are in your location. Somebody sent that to me and said, Holly, you should put yourself on that so people can contact you, which I haven't done yet. But, if you live on the coast or you live in California, when I lived in California, I wasn't into this. I didn't get into this until 2008. When I went to visit my in-laws in 2011, I think it was, I took some classes from local foragers and I learned about the abundance there. And it's different. A lot of the plants are similar, but they're still different because of the different environment. But I'm telling you, I learned so much. And I thought, wow, I wish I'd known this when I lived there for 20 years. But that wasn't where my head was at the time. So anyway, those are two really good hints that will help you to succeed in this, because I want you to succeed. Okay, so let's talk about some wild thoughts. Yes, sir.
Did you want to show your slide presentation now or later?
Oh, I do. Okay, so you're going to watch the slideshow, and then I'll share a couple of wild thoughts. Jody's going to share her things, and then whatever time is left, I'll share with you some ideas that I have for how you can spread the life. It's been a wonderful week. I would love to see the things you're foraging for. I would love to see you post your foraging basket. Did you love the way Deanna and Valley put together all of their foraging contents into the word love? It is truly all about love. All right, so I want to talk about love and another aspect of it, and that is something I give a talk, which I'll probably give between now and Christmas, called The Healing Plants in the Life of Christ. And here's a cloud think I made up for it. Listen to these words, okay? This is amazing. There are over 300 prophecies concerning the coming Messiah written over 1,500 years by 40 authors in 66 books. They were from all walks of life, from kings to fishermen, and from various cultures. So that's pretty wild. These prophecies told where the Messiah would be born, where he would live, his lineage, his name, and even the details of his crucifixion 1,000 years before crucifixion was ever used for execution. If just 8 of those 300 prophecies were fulfilled, the odds of one man fulfilling all of them is 10 to the 17th power. That's 10 with 17 zeros after that. Even the very day of his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, riding on a donkey, was prophesied in the book of Daniel and Zechariah. So why do I share that? Well, because hope is a name. Love is a name. His name is Jesus. We have a problem. Our world is broken. And a problem is called sin. And ever since sin came into the garden and separated us from our Creator, he promised at that very moment that he would send a Messiah. And the Jews looked for that Messiah for thousands of years. And the Lord gave all through the Old Testament all of these prophecies saying he will be born of a virgin, he'll be born in Bethlehem, on, over 300. And I have a handout that I created of some of those, my favorite prophecies. But Jesus Christ fulfilled all of them. And he was executed on a cross because he claimed to be the Messiah. He claimed to be God. And that is what killed him. And so, that was not appreciated by the Pharisees or by religion, but he was the one that we have been looking for. And he promised he would come again. And he gives all kinds of details about what his second coming would be like. The first time he came as a suffering servant to rescue us from our sins and to pay for our sins and to bring us back to the heart of God, into love itself. But the second time he's coming as a king, which is what the Jews were expecting the first time, and that's why they refused to believe he was actually the Messiah. So there's even more prophecies concerning the second coming of Christ, and most of them, I think all of them, have been fulfilled. And honestly, I haven't studied that as much, and people have said for many, many years, oh, he's coming back on this day. Well, if that ever happens, you know it's not that day, because no one knows the time or the hour. But it does say we can know the seasons and the times and understand the times. And there's a scripture that says the wise man foresees the difficulties ahead and prepares for them, but the fool goes blindly on and suffers the consequences. And so in the times coming surrounding the coming of the Messiah the second time, it's not going to be an easy time. But we don't have to be afraid because he's here. And the scripture I gave you in the slideshow is, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. Behold, I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. And so we are not alone. He is with us. So whatever the future holds, whether it's a ice, an ice storm that puts the power out for 2 weeks in Texas of all places, or whether it's a hurricane, or whether it is the power grid going down, or whatever it is, we need to be prepared, because that's just wisdom. But we need to be prepared with stillness and rest, knowing that we're not alone, and that the one who made us, the one who even died for us, will freely give us all things. And I think Wild Blessings proves to you that all these free things are from a gift from the heart of a God who loves his children. So you are loved, and I want you to know that. I just love her. All right, so let's just talk about some things that you can do to preserve food for the winter, or for an emergency, or for the future. So did you know that every apple that you buy at the store in June or whatever was picked back in the fall? And they can preserve them really well by keeping them in a cool area. And so I'm going to do that with my apples. I have quite a bit in a huge bin, but I actually had to go through and find the apples that have been bruised, or that are rotting in some place. One bad apple ruins the entire barrel. So that's a good one for relationships too. You want to surround yourself with people that will build you up and not destroy you. So this is a really good example of that. So one bad apple will ruin this whole bunch of good apples, which I'm going to preserve for the winter. If you find a bad apple, don't throw it out. I do love it when Jason tries to hit trees with it, but take it and cut off the bad part and use this to make apple butter, which I made a lot of apple butter. I'm still making apple butter. Or applesauce is another great thing to do. One of my other favorite things to stock up on, if you want to be prepared for food that lasts forever, is I love to buy mung beans. So I just bought more, but I've been through quite a bit of these. Get as many pounds of this as you can. Mung beans are super high in nutrition. Look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. And then you can just sprout them. And what's so amazing about sprouting is that the enzymes are so essential. We need enzymes in our food so that we can digest. If you do not have living food, your body will steal the enzymes from your organs so that it can digest the food. And then you're depleted, where you're thinking you're actually eating and feeding your cells. You're not. You're actually making yourself sicker. So I've seen a lot of prepper videos this week. I don't usually watch those things, but there are a lot of people saying, oh, get canned this and canned that and canned this and canned that, which is fine. And it will fill your stomach, but it doesn't have the enzymes in it. So you need enzymes. So wild food, for heaven's sakes, and mung beans, or any kind of seed that you can sprout. So what you do is you fill this up with hot water or warm water and let it sit for 24 hours, and then you strain it off. And I bought these this little lid that has the holes in it, so I can just go over to the sink and just pour it off, and then let it sit like that, and then fill it up with water again. Come by every time you just come by. I keep it in my sink, and then within a couple of days it'll start sprouting. And you've seen mung beans in Chinese restaurants and stuff, where you can actually see them in the grocery store, where you pay good money to buy them already sprouted. They're so delicious. And if you wait, and if you just have them soft, you can eat them almost like peas. You don't have to wait till they've sprouted out to eat them. One of the things about the dandelion, collect it now while the getting's good. It's just so delicious and so prevalent. It's everywhere right now. After you've washed it well, I like to use Thieves Veggie Spray. I literally take it outside and I just go like this, and all of the water just goes flying off, because I don't have a salad spinner, which I'd like one of those. That would be fun. Okay, so we talked about the apples, the mung beans, curing your nuts. I hope you're collecting your nuts. You need to cure them, because they will last for decades if you cure them, and I'll give you a link on how to do that. Another thing that that Bonnie was noticing is that there are little tiny worms or weevils coming out of the acorns. And honestly, those are really, really high in protein. And so if you are game, you could use that for food as well. Freezing, I'm really I do a lot with freezing my wild edible plants, but I'm a little bit bummed about that right now, because I have this huge freezer full of burdock root and all kinds of things. And I'm really much more into drying or fermenting. And so I have done an entire class on wild fermentation, and I'll give you the link to that. So I'm not going to go over that, but having wild sauerkrauts and kimchi is going to really build up your gut with the good flora that you need. So watch that if you weren't here back in March when we did that. Another one that I think you would really appreciate is I did an entire class on food preservation, and that was just for the winter or any emergency. So I'm really not going to go over all the ways you can brine and all the ways that you can dry and all the ways that you can freeze and all the way that you can ferment, etc., because I've already done that. So I'll give you the link to that as well. Your homework, I decided to change it from field work to field joys, because we are to rejoice and be glad forever in what he's created. And this is a joy. Now, I have to admit, it would be a lot more fun if I had 10 kids helping me, because my hands are always busy doing what you girls are doing right now. You got to collect these things, but then you've got to do something with them. You have to make the apple butters and the pumpkin butters and make the chestnut, cure your nuts, etc. But it's worth it. And it's such a abundant feeling to know that God has provided these things for us. We look to you to give us our food in due season. So this is what's out now on Nature's Wave. We gather it up, you open your hand, and we are satisfied. So even in times of emergency, God has provided. I'll never forget going to a pizzeria with Jordan in Brooklyn, and right next to the pizzeria was a ton of lamb's quarter, and there was poke, and man, I'm just like, whatever. And then I went foraging with Green Dean in Central Park. So if you want to see that video, even there in New York City, there is abundance, and the trees are abundant, and the fruit and the nuts from the trees. My niece lives in Prague, and they actually have wild food forest for all the people to eat from. So that's pretty cool. So remember, if you want to get my cards, come get my cards. I'd be happy to send them to you. You don't really need them. You just walk up and say, I'm in a class. It's called Wild Blessings, and here's the link if you want to join it. And my assignment is to go foraging. So go foraging. Thank you for joining me. What?
Share.
Oh, yes, please. If you like this and this was a blessing to you, please share the blessings with others. And please support me on Patreon. This is my full-time job. This is what I do. And I love to keep it free, because God gives it to us for free. And I want to give from my heart to you for free, but I really do need to pay bills. So please support me if you can. And what else? Oh, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe and comment, because that will bring more people to my YouTube channel, I think. I'm not sure how algorithms work, but that would be helpful as well. So God bless you. And I hope you feel encouraged, and always remember that you are not alone. I am the great I am, the one who made us, the one who died for us, who lives forevermore, is always with us, and he's coming back. So God bless you.